My name is Jim Briotti. This is my 99th 24-hour or longer race.
Hello everybody, this is Barcelona. 1.6 million people call this their home. If you extend that out to the metropolitan area, then it's over 5 million souls. Great architecture everywhere you look. History is staring back at you. Lots of celebrations in this area, very traditional. This weekend in Granollers is the Fiesta Mayor. This celebrates dualism. The devil of Granollers is in attendance. Competition is absolutely at the heart of this area. The people love it. Many different sporting teams are based here. Think of the likes of FC Barcelona, of course. But our sporting heart this weekend is at the circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia for the Hankook 24 Hours of Barcelona.
We are in Spain. We are at the beautiful circuit of Catalonia. And it's the last race for the European Championship, the fifth and the last race. It's going to be an exciting race, I can tell you already.
We've seen a healthy battle for many seasons between the Red Camel team and the NKKP Racing entry. For this race, both teams are sharing the same car.
Well, we couldn't find the right lineup, so we decided to join forces with our biggest competitor, Evo, and we're very much looking forward to start this race with Red Camel Jordans and see how far we can get if the two biggest competitors work together in one car.
The weekend didn't start well for Equipe Verscheur.
In the free practice, the engine was too hot, so we decided to change the engine and then start at the back. That was a better solution, we thought.
The team couldn't repair the car in time for qualifying, but everyone else went out to set their time for their position on the grid.
Yeah, it was a good quali for us. Of course, it had to be expected that I do the pole, but with a Gen 1 car and being in a Pro-Am car, we had a bit of a disadvantage on performance, so really happy to do the pole.
Yeah, the qualifying was pretty good for us, so I managed to put the car on pole position in the TCR class, and the TCE we are on P3. So I'm really looking forward to the race now. This track suits a lot to the fast cars, which are straight line, who got straight line speed, and the cars which are standing now in the front row got a little bit more horsepower than we have. So I'm quite happy because the qualifying itself was quite close fight. So it's good for us to be on pole.
The setup of the car, the ball was very balanced, and finally we arrived to do the pole position.
Well, I drove the 12-hour Spa, but this is my first 24-hour race. First time in the car, so I didn't do so many laps in the car, but at the moment I feel confident in the car, so yeah, I was able to put the pole.
It was all right. It was one of those laps where you get out, everything feels good. The car was super good. Didn't get a lot of laps in, so we didn't really know exactly where to be with the new tires, but we were pretty good. So now we're looking forward to the race now.
While the spectators enjoy the grid walk, where do the drivers see themselves in 24 hours' time?
It's time for the team with a pole. So yeah, the team is very successful in this series, even though they are not starting always in the front row. So let's see what we can do now in the start.
The problem is only the temperature. The car is, I think, 70 grams. It's very hot.
I think everyone in GT3 has a potential car of winning here. And like I said, it's all about being safe. And if you are unlucky and you have a technical difficulty, it's pretty much race over. every GT3 championship now is so competitive that if you lose a lap, you might as well quit.
GTs have started their warm-up lap. The Porsche Lorient 911 has problems leaving the starting grid. Cars behind the number 911 need to go by, and the track marshals have to push Jean-Francois Demorge off the track.
We got electronic problem with a captor. That was right on the dashboard that the driver was on the first speed, but in real he was in the 6th, so that damaged the clutch.
The Porsche Lorient pushed back into the pit box as the TCE Series and GT Series cars complete their second warm-up lap. It's the 31st of August 2019, 12 noon. We're ready to start the GT cars in the Hankook 24H of Barcelona. The field fans out towards the first corner. The number 10 Hofer Mercedes on the right of screen. The number 11 Red Ferrari on the left, trying to gain positions in the first few metres of the race. The red Bohemia Energy entry has to fall back. The white and red Hofer Mercedes AMG claiming 2 positions, now 4th overall.
It was great. I mean, it was exactly what I wanted. I mean, when you're at the grid and the light, just the red goes off and you're in your race, you know why you're here this weekend, and it's just amazing. It's a fantastic moment.
The field is getting up to pace, and a collision.
There were the Porsche Cup cars going very slow, and I had my colleagues behind me from the GT4 class. I had to go for the gap, and in turn 3, Porsche hit me on the right side. I had a spin, and then he hit me a second time. Now our rear axle is gone.
The Hofer team will take about 3 hours to repair the car. It's worse for the Orchid number 917 Porsche.
We can't repair it. It's a major damage in the front hand right. We have to replace. The body has been opened, so we can't replace it. All the teams, the first time here at the Creventic 24H, they did a great job, and they were expecting, really, they were giving everything they could. They made a major work, and I'd like to thank them for what they did.
Electrical problems for Jim Briodi. He needs to park the 717 Mark II. Meanwhile, for the 21st time in history, the TCR cars start their 24H of Barcelona. Positions being gained and lost, but Eric Yanis in the RTR Projects 224 hasn't got a good start. His crossbow started second, but before the field even reached the first corner, he's down to 4th. This brings the number 188 AC Motorsport TCR car up to 3rd. Further down the TCE field, the Holmgard 102 Volkswagen, leaving space between them and the other competitors.
I was saving the car, don't get any damage on the car, so we can hold the whole race. So just was a little bit passive, so don't get any crashes or something like that.
At the end of the first lap, 7:01 in the pit lane, and it's a short stop.
We had to stop by the pit to close the doors because it opened in 2 occasions. And the stint was great at the beginning. Despite this problem, I mean, it was pretty difficult to get back to the rhythm and with a good pass, but it was very, very hot.
In that early afternoon heat, the Bohemia Energy Ferrari is fighting for position with the 24 from GPX Racing.
It was quite good, was really hot, and the car was working really well, but it will be a long race.
Meanwhile, the number 29 Renault RS01 had a brand new engine because of overheating, now back in the pit.
The race started, we could not test the car, so we did not know if this problem has solved. So after, say, 15 minutes, the problem started again, and we decided to get the car in, not to damage the engine too much, and try to change the radiator and the thermostat.
Leaders in the GT division still less than a second apart. The 3rd place car just coming out the final corner.
We were battling actually we were in P3, battling with P1 and P2, but they were a lap in front of us, so we decided to let them go, not to have a stupid race.
TCE division has a new leader. It's the Baz Kooten prepared Top Car Sport number 131.
The start was good. The Golfs were pulling quite fast, but then they ran out of tires and we managed to take the lead in the TCR class.
Remember, the Porsche Lorient 911 couldn't start the race? Well, They've joined in now, and they still claim to have a chance.
We still have 23 hours, so we will see what happens. Never say that we lost before to finish the race. There is 23 hours, so a lot of things can happen during the night, early in the morning.
Red Camel team got a problem shifting gears.
The gear shift upwards didn't function anymore. It was loose. So Ivo had to run all the way to pit box 43, where Koeten is with our own car, the NKPP car, get our own steering wheel, running back, giving me the steering wheel so I could get in with our own steering wheel. So it's actually, this race is a combination of Red Camel and KPP.
It's getting really hot in the cars.
Had some problem. It was too hot. We had, had water to drink, but it was very difficult to keep focused.
And not only people suffering.
We had a hot temperature signal, and I tried to cool it down, so I slowed down a little bit. But it didn't. Still raced. It was overheated. We came in, just stopped, looked at it, and after it didn't start again. The gearbox. We cannot repair it.
Mathieu Dutré had 5 laps left in his stint when it became nearly impossible to steer the car.
I don't know, I was on the first brake, on the straight line. I brake and I blocked the rear links wheel, and after just with the steering wheel broken, and it's the suspension broken, I think.
We've had a varied first 3 hours of the race. Not everyone has managed to stay on the track. The 188, however, can rejoin the race. 21 hours still to go. This is endurance.
For me, it's what's about endurance races. It's unique. I think there's no series on the planet where you have this kind of 24 hours and 12-hour mix. So for us, it's top. And amateurs have the chance, with a little bit support from some pros, to drive in the overall top 5. So everything is really good.
We're at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, one of the most like modern circuits in the world.
It's actually a great feeling coming here. It's the first track I came to and went, wow. You walk into the paddock, you have this incredible grandstand, you've watched all the F1 races here, and then you're a driver on the same track that all those greats you used to watch, have been on. So it's a great place, the fans are great, and I love Barcelona itself. It's a great place to be.
Here we organize the Formula One, MotoGP, Rallycross. There are Spanish GT Championship. There are a lot of races here, and I think for all the motorsport drivers, this is the most important.
It's really cool. Yeah, fast corners, a lot of grip. So yeah, with new tires, you can smash the car around.
The track is good. It's quite dirty compared to many other tracks off the line. I think the key here is to be very, very safe. And try not to spend too much time off the ideal line.
Yeah, really nice. Like a bit like Portimao, with no deviation. And, yeah, very quick and very technical race, so great fun.
The track is fantastic. I mean, it's a combination of slow and faster corners. One of the nicest track in the calendar, and I really like it.
Love it, love it. It's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of discipline. Actually, I really like it because there's enough runoff room. If you make a mistake, you're okay. So good fun to drive.
Compared to Dubai, this track is more difficult. It's more requiring for the driver. So I like it. I'm coming from the Nordschleife, which is completely different. So you have 25 kilometers and you have a very long track with 100 cars, and this is completely different.
With the Barcelona heat, this is a true endurance race in every sense of the word. The drivers need to take some time to recover after their stint. And whilst we're talking about recovery, the number 50 car that had the crash in the first lap has now rejoined. The crew very proud of themselves after fixing the rear axle and suspension.
We had the BMW experts here, and we discussed if it was sensible to change the parts. And they said it would be a last of 6 hours maybe to repair the whole car. And we tried, okay, if we put all our manpower on this car and just change our box strategy for the other car, then we can work with everybody on this car It was 6 hours planned, and we just 3 hours.
Experienced American driver Darren Law is new to the series, and his first stint hasn't been the easiest.
It's a tough stint because it's just so hot, you know, and the track is greasy, so it's a lot of work. It's not like it just sticks and goes. You're constantly correcting the car, so it's a lot of work.
Race leader Patrick Gajala picks up a puncture near to the end of his stint, brings the Lamborghini number 77 into the Barwell crew. They turn him around very quickly, meaning they can still fight for the lead with the number 91 Herbert Porsche. In that car, gentleman driver Ralph Bourne is doing a great job in the battle for the lead.
Well, it's switching around, yes. The Lamborghini is very strong, and he was faster than me, but I was lucky he had a bunch, and so I could overtake him back again.
The team is looking for a little redemption from the disaster that struck the car last time out.
Well, as we lost the car in Portimao on fire, so our target for this weekend is to finish. And to finish best position, that's the target.
The Code 60's out. It's the number 902 Webheads car with Andreas Riedel in the gravel. Can't seem to get the Porsche to start.
We had a good position. We had P1 in qualifying. We were defending it. And then I had this accident, which was from my point of view a classical race accident. I wanted to get in at turn 4, and obviously the BMW didn't saw me and hit my car.
Great job by the marshal to quickly get the car out of the gravel. It's trailing a little rubber, but there's no major damage. Finally, clouds have taken the edge off the bright sunshine as we get closer to the evening. A sigh of relief from all the drivers.
It was absolutely hell. It was really hot. I remembered last year that I finished the last stint and I was not able to come on the podium. So for me, the hot in Barcelona is always very hard.
It's a problem, but it's the same for everybody. So you have to, when you feel that it's too hot, you have to slow down a little bit to recover your spirits, and then it will be okay.
The 34 Audi is setting a great pace for the A6 AM class in this endurance race.
I think the race is more and more getting to a sprint race. It's not a 24-hour endurance race, it is a sprint race.
The main opposition for the car collection number 3014 for the season championship is the number 85 from CP Racing, but their race is not going according to plan.
No, we're usually used to a pretty well set up car. We've got some issues going on with the car right now. We're not sure what it is. It was really good in testing, but it's been falling off a bit during practice and qualifying and the first part of the race. So we're not really sure mechanically what's going on, but it doesn't seem like its usual self.
A massive hit for the Red Camel number 101 Seat with the NKPP driver Harry Hildis behind the wheel.
Harry was doing quite well, and we were catching up with the competition again, catching up quite fast actually. And but then in turn 4, our car with the rear left tire in turn 4 got off track, and then your car spins to the right. And there's a wall, and this is the result of a car which hits a wall with 140 kilometers, as you can see behind us. This is it.
Good news is Harry's walked away from the accident unhurt, but there'll be a long code 60 to clear it all up. That's our cue to look at the standings after 7 hours of racing. As the hard-working marshals are doing their job, it's the Barwell Motorsport number 77 that holds the lead. Herbert Motorsport number 91 Porsche second in the GT division, 47-second gap between first and second there. Third, the Porsche from GPX Racing, the number 24, but they're a lap off the race leaders. In the TCE division, the number 131 Top Car Sport Cupra by Baz Cooten Racing has a 2-lap lead. The Crossbow from RTR Projects, the T24, is running second, and they lead the SP3 class. Third in TCE is the Vaporo number 135 Cupra. They've got another lap to make up, but they've got 17 hours to do it. We're at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia for the 5th race in the European leg of the Hankook 24H Endurance Series. It's an important race.
Not only because you have the race here in Barcelona and trophies for the race, but also it's the last race in the European Championship. So the last chance for teams to get points, and after the race we have a great championship party with great trophies. So I think every team is doing his best to get the best points and result.
depends also a little bit on the other cars, on the other cars in A6, especially also in 911 class. But if we take the win, we still are in a good position also maybe to take the overall championship. And yeah, let's see what happens after 24 hours.
Being a series with many classes, each with their own points, means it matters what happens in every class of competition, not just the overall standings.
You can see that we won 4 races, actually all of them, and we have still no sure that we will win.
Every championship hopeful has to keep an eye out as to what is happening in the whole field.
If the Mercedes with number 85, the CP Racing, I think, if they will win in their category, we have to win 5 races in a row to be first.
In the AM championships, we have a pretty good points lead in the A6 AM, but it's still a race between us, the 93 Porsche, and the 34 car collection Audi. So it's a race all the way down.
Right, let's get back to racing. It's been a long code 60. The marshals have had to fix the tyre barriers, but they and their machines are off track now, and so the race can continue where it left off. Not racing at the moment, the Zorg Rennsport number 451. The team have worried faces.
We had some electrical problems. There was not enough voltage on the battery, so the car stopped on the start-finish line and we had to recover the car into the pit lane. We changed the battery and checked the wiring, and yeah, that's I hope everything what we had to do. The car is running fine again on P2 in class, GT4. Let's keep the fingers crossed.
The number 91 Herbert Porsche has closed in on the Barwell 77 Lamborghini. The lead changes on the main straight as the Porsche goes by the Lamborghini. Still a tight battle though. Meanwhile, in the classes, the race can be a little more solitary.
It was a very long stint because it was code 60. It looked for me that I was the last. And so I had enough space to the front, and in the back there was also no car. So I was driven by myself.
After some help from Renault engineers, the number 29 RS01 from Equipe Vercher had tried their 3rd attempt to get the race started. Still action in all of the classes. Second in A3, the number 802 of Fun M team stranded on the track.
I was in a pulk with other cars, and suddenly some of the cars hit my right rear, and so I spun slightly. And afterwards I've got the feeling that something broke on the right side. So on left-hand quarters it was a problem to go with more speed in it. So I have to slow down and do my laps. But as I see now, nothing bigger damage happened, so I don't know.
It's the accident between the Hoffer number 10 AMG and the Nordschleifer Peugeot 172 that's brought out the purple flags.
So in turn 4, I had an encounter with another car. I don't know whose fault it is. We have to look at the videos, but we both went into the gravel. Then I got pulled back, and now I'm here. I'm a little, very little hurt at the left hand, but nothing serious. And the car will be repaired.
J'ai abordé le virage sur la droite, il n'y avait rien dans mon rétroviseur. J'ai pris le virage et la voiture de derrière m'a shooté, la Mercedes.
Thierry was on his line to take a corner, and he don't see in the mirror the Mercedes who come to jump him. And the pilot of the Mercedes, imagine Thierry opens the door to jump him, and he makes a mistake.
It's common practice in the Hankook 24H series by Creventic. The drivers involved in an incident will have a chat with each other to make sure there's no long-lasting hostile feelings. Apologies will be made. Obviously, the team still have work to do to get the cars back into the race.
The damage of the car is rear axle and front axle on the right side. You have also suspension, you have also wheel is brake. And I think we need minimum 1 hour to repair.
The Nordschleifer racing team have their 172 Peugeot already in the garage, damage from the accident that you've just seen. And now their second car, the Ligier, has a broken drive shaft, which the team needs to fix as well. The GT battle is still tight. Didn't expect to see Alfred Renard here this weekend. He is, and following the progress, of course, of the Herbert number 91 car.
I had a clash this weekend, so we did Porsche Super Cup at Spa. And I arrived just a few hours ago. So my brother and me, we are the team owners, and it's always important to check everything, to get the whole team together, and to have a good feeling for everyone.
Nearly midnight. How does Alfred assess the race?
Yeah, it's really close to the Lamborghini and also to the Ferrari. I hope we can continue until the end and have a good fight with them.
The race is 12 hours old. We're only halfway. This is endurance.
Endurance is good racing fun. We normally do the endurance race at the Nürburgring. That's our home track. But traveling to Qatar or Dubai or also to Barcelona is always a big excitement. So we love to do that.
The Creventic series has been going strong for 14 years. It's the perfect place for manufacturers to try new cars, even concept cars, in a competitive race environment. This race, it's the turn of KTM to bring something new. Normally, they bring their KTM Crossboard GT4s, but not this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend we've got our 2 new concept cars, which are now called the KTM GTX with us. This weekend is really just a proof of concept. It's the first race we've ever done with the cars. We've done some testing over the year with the car, and now we've just put it into the race to kind of see where it fits and where we want to go with it. And to be fair, it's gone pretty smoothly until now.
New cars and also new teams.
Normally driving in Germany, but in the VLN, but we stopped that, and now we're going and looking for something else. So we've done that 15 years, and now we're going for something else.
Yeah, we want to see something else because we are always running on the Nordschleife, and so we want to try what is going on here, and yeah, that's it.
So what is it that draws these teams to Creventic racing?
It's attractive for us because it's a level with where amateurs drivers like we have a place. It's nice driving, people are careful, and we can use a lot of time of driving.
On the Nordschleife, yeah, it's a little bit different from here. So it's a little bit easier to drive here. So the penalties and the people are more friendly.
It seems that almost every race, the organisers are welcoming new drivers to the series. And their feelings are just like those from the team managers.
It's well organised, it has a friendly atmosphere, you know, a friendly paddock between the teams, etc., but still very competitive. You know, the percentage of amateur driver is quite high here. But you know, they all want to compete and win, so it's good fun.
I'm still sort of split whether to focus on sprint racing or endurance racing. And endurance racing is all about the atmosphere, the team, and the way how you drive the car together with your friends. So I love it. I mean, the team is great.
Past midnight here, battle still going on in all of the classes here in Barcelona, and it's not just on the tarmac, mind you. Our esports competition is being raced at the same time, and still leading there is the Spanish MSI esports team. Back in the real world, number 802 is pushed into the garage. They suddenly lost power, and the engineers are having a hard time locating the cause of what they think is an electrical failure. The RTR number 224 Crossboard team also have a problem to solve. Their car was pushed into the garage about an hour ago now.
Well, I got unlucky because I was hit by Porsche into turn 7, I think. I got off the track to the gravel, and when we found out the car was fine, I was continuing to the race, but probably the gravel was in the engine as well. So right now we're trying to find out whether it's the engine problem or what caused the engine problem.
The Webheads 902 wins a class battle on the Porsche Lorient number 911 as problems arise for Cor Oiser's 717 Mark car.
We had a pretty awkward accident at midnight. Ricky was blinded by cars behind him, and car snapped on him and he lost it, and then he hit the wall. And we had chassis damage, and The transaxle went a little bit sideways, so we call it a day. You know, we cannot fix it here.
Leading the field always seems effortless, but that is rarely the case.
I think the biggest difficulty here is it's quite demanding physically. The track itself, there's very little time to relax. I find this more demanding than Spa 24 hours, and I've done that quite a few times now. Yeah, it's been very interesting. The differential in speed with other cars is actually very interesting. You start reading the dynamic, you start fighting through the traffic with your class fight that you're having, and you use the traffic obviously safely, but it's very interesting. It's feels a little bit more like street racing, if I'm honest.
Code 60, and from the number 11 Ferrari we can see the MRS number 980 Porsche off track. It's a broken drive shaft.
I enjoyed in the night. I had one stint. We were leading in class, but then the drive shafts went off, so we had to repair for an hour. Yeah, and then the chance for a win was away.
True Racing have traded in their crossbow GT4s for this race. They've got a pair of brand new KTM GTX for a shakedown in this race.
We had some hiccups with the car 217 overnight. I guess we had a stone which got into the alternator belt, and that caused a bit of issues for us, but otherwise the 216s had absolutely no problems, no penalties, no issues. Well, touch wood, we're not done yet.
Yellow flags are out for a collision. Drivers are hitting their brakes, but Matteo Malicelli not able to avoid all of the skirmish and has picked up some damage on the left front of his Ferrari.
There was faster cars lapping me, and there was one car who just distracted my attention from the normal racing line and the stop braking points. So I braked a little bit too late into the corner, and the faster driver just closed the gap in the corner, so we crashed.
We got hit by TCR quite hard. We managed to bring the car back. Unfortunately, we were on the lead at that time, and we lost 25 minutes in the pit, so we probably lost the win.
The GSR Speed Factory number 105 Audi, too severely damaged to be repaired here at the track, so the team end their race. For most here, however, it's still a very enjoyable race.
Well, I had two outings in the night, and both have been very good for me. Good times. I had good lap times, and also overtook the leading car, so that's a positive impact for me.
Barcelona is a brilliant track. I mean, it's the reason why it stays on the F1 and the MotoGP calendar every year. Our guys love it. Many of us on the flight out always talk about how it's one of our favourite ones on the calendar every year, and Creventic always put on a good show here.
6 o'clock in the morning, the GT division hasn't changed much. Dennis Lind brings the car out of the night, leading by 19 seconds over Ralph Bourne in second position. That's the Barwell 77 and 91 Herbert Porsche battle. Jordan Groger is now in the number 24 GPX Racing Porsche. He's trying to keep up with the leaders, but there's a gap of 3 laps now. In the TCE division, the 131 Top Car Cupra is in the pits. They've got 3 laps over Papordo, number 135. They're second, 6 laps back to the 102 Holmgard Volkswagen. Both of those second and third place cars due to pit stop in the next couple of minutes. The 24-hour series has several major sponsors. They make sure the series can offer the absolute best experience for the competing teams. One of these partners is Speedcom.
It's a very familiar atmosphere. For this reason we enjoy it. I mean, the paddock is a very nice atmosphere to be working in. We feel that we're part of Creventic. We are a partner with them, so we're helping them as well to try and, of course, help grow our business at the same time.
At each race, Speedcom can be found in the paddock.
We are part of the communications network. We give service to the teams, we sell the radios, we give servicing to the drivers with their helmets, with the race equipment and radio equipment inside.
Series organisers Creventic appreciates all their sponsors.
Hankook and Panther, very important for us. Even also the smaller sponsors like Stand 21 and Speedcom, but especially actually this race we have a new sponsor. It's Webheads from one of our drivers, J.M. Littman, and yeah, we're very happy and also very proud that he chose this race and our series to promote his company.
It's a very friendly series. Creventic have been very good to us in the past, and it's nice to put something a little bit back into a series we really enjoy being part of anyway. But there's some great people in this paddock. There's some great competitors, and they have great businesses. And you know, people spend a lot of money going to conferences and exhibitions, but I'd rather put my money here and be able to talk to some really interesting businessmen who also enjoy racing. So we share that connection, and it's a really good opportunity to work with them in the future.
For a driver, it's an extra bonus to see your brand on all your competitors' cars.
A couple of people came up to me yesterday and go, how many cars are you driving here? And I look at it when I get behind a car, I go, wow, we got webheads on the back of the car, and I have to think a double take. So yeah, we got a promotional crew here today, and we'll be going around and talking to all the teams during the 24 hours, and you know, just trying to establish a connection, and you know, who knows what will lead on, and hopefully we'll be working with some of these guys later on.
So the lesson is, if you do it right, being a partner in the FIA-sanctioned 24-hour International Endurance Series, be a great platform to promote your brand. A collision on track between the number 22 Wochenspiegel Ferrari and the CP Racing number 85 AMG. Darren Lowe is pulled out of the gravel. Leonard Weiss brings the Wochenspiegel Ferrari to the pit lane unassisted. Hands over to Hendrik Still. The number 112 Volkswagen of Autorama is having a steady race, and team owner Stefan Tanner is enjoying being here.
The series is very cool, good for the amateur drivers, also for factory drivers, and for our team. Now we go with 2 cars in this series, and yeah, we look in the future.
Daylight returns to the track.
I started when it was dark, and then it was getting lighter and lighter. There are 2 turns where the sun is shining directly to you. That was a little difficult, but it was fine.
The Red Horse team have a 12-second penalty to serve for speeding in the pit lane. Sven is ready at the penalty box, but the driver has a different idea.
I think the driver was in a bad mood for the penalty, so he just played a little trick on me. And he went for the gap, and he went out again, and he just said goodbye.
The Synchro Honda Civic is back in the garage. Half an hour to change the gearbox. Now engine overheating.
As daylight broke, unfortunately we had an engine issue, and it resulted in us having to do an engine change as well. The engine change was 1 hour 15 minutes. Our guys are so well drilled at this. We practice this a lot before we come out on every race weekend, and a testament to them and their skill set. They always are bang on it.
Just a couple of hours to the finishing flag now. How has Barwell planned to handle their driver rotation?
The amateur drivers have done quite a bit of driving at night, but now Patrick Fiala's in for another little while, and then Dennis hopefully goes in to finish the race. So pros to the end from us.
But what about their rivals for the lead?
I think they've got to run another 30 minutes of time for one of their AMs. You know, Bond and Alleman have driven a fantastic race as well. So it's going to be all I can say is it's going to be close.
TCE lead still in the hands of top car number 131. Daniel Alleman first to complete 600 laps. Battle for the top step of the GT podium between the number 91 Porsche and the 77 Lamborghini. But other teams have their eye on the European Championship points.
We are on number 6 in the overall, and I think number 3 in the class. And I hope that with that result we really can keep our international position. In the A6 we are overall 2, and with the drivers we are at 2, and so I hope that we can keep that.
Synchro Honda number 676 is back on track with a new engine. There's a team that really knows the true meaning of endurance racing. This is endurance.
Well, endurance, I think, is teamwork, preparation, and a lot of luck. That's endurance.
It's fascinating, 24 hours long, good teamwork. This is the most important for a long-distance race.
With a lot of different cars in the individual classes, it means the series implements BOP.
Yeah, the BOP, or the balance of performance, is very important because we have different cars in the same classes, and just to make it equal, we have a balance of performance so that every car has a chance to get on the podium.
You couldn't have this GT3 racing without a BOP.
then you'd have to have more detailed technical regulations, and when you have technical regulations, then it costs a lot of money.
Listen, balance of performance is important because you can't put a different manufacturer against a different manufacturer. They're always going to have pros and cons against them. BOP, balance of performance, is in principle a very good idea, but you're never going to keep everyone happy.
Whose job is it to set the BOP for each car?
Yeah, it depends a little bit. Sometimes it's the homologation of the car that depends the BOP, the balance of performance. But for some classes, we make the BOP ourselves, and we just check and look at all the information we have, and then we decide what the BOP will be.
I think the BOP is pretty good. The fight has really been close between us and the Porsche and the Ferrari. But it comes down to small details in the pits, and this is what makes it exciting.
4th overall, Herbert number 93 Porsche, but more importantly, they are leading the A6 AM category with a 3-lap gap. Edward Lewis Browner is asked to get ready for a pit stop coming slightly earlier than expected.
I just learned that we had some contact, I don't know, apparently with a Ferrari. So we need to see if we need to repair something or if it's a straight pit stop.
No damage to the car, so it was a straightforward pit stop. In TCE, the Autorama number 112 came into this race with a big lead in the European Championship standings. So what are their championship chances now? They're currently not leading the race.
We stay off place 3 and place 5. And in the championship, we hope we go to the first. It's a little bit nervous now.
Apart from hard, it's also very enjoyable, especially in a big field like this.
We've had a battle with car 91 Porsche for the duration of the whole race. So starting from hour 1 to hour now. So for 22 hours we've been swapping positions every stint. So it's been one of the best battles I think I've been a part of for the last, 14 years I've been in motorsport.
We've had a few new cars at this event, and most of them have done well up to now.
We have 2 hours left to go, a little over 2 hours to go, and to be honest, it's quite surprising how good it's been.
We have no problems at the race, only a few penalties of speeding pit lane and one tire breakdown at the beginning, and that's everything's fine.
That's the first time we are doing this 24 with the new team. Everybody's new, so fantastic experience. We've been challenged the whole day yesterday with the differential, and one of the wheels came off in the night, and the car crashed into the barrier, but great teamwork made it run again. So the car's doing good.
Drama for the 188 Audi. The left front wheels come off. Rademacher has hit the barriers.
It's a nightmare weekend, huh? So we start the weekend with a poor Stefan Perez, one of the driver who was hit by a car into the pit, and he's in the hospital for the moment. He's okay, but he's in hospital, so that was not a good start of the weekend. And afterward, the race was many different mechanical issues on the car, and the last one is a broken wheel on the fast right corner at the middle of the track. And so I went on the gravel and hit the tire wall. We have to bring back the car on the track, and the mechanics start to rebuild it, and we will do last lap or last 2 laps to finish the race for Stefan Perez.
Bohemia Energy Ferrari number 11 is currently 10th overall. That would be their worst finishing position this year. In the whole of the 2019 season, they've always finished on the podium, but their competitors still think the Czech team are unbeatable.
In the A6 overall, the GT title overall, I think the number 11 Ferrari had it pretty well sewn up coming in, even if they didn't finish this race. With 5 wins coming in, it's hard to beat that.
The TC outright leader for most of the race has been the 131 Top Car Cupra. The drivers have raced very well indeed, but you've got to give some credit too to the pit team, who've had perfect stops.
I think the team has practiced the pit stops a lot. So yeah, for sure. In first stint we won 1 minute to the other ones in pit stop, so it's a lot.
Trouble for the 102 Holmgard Volkswagen. They were 4th in class, now in the gravel.
When Roy from Norway hit the brakes, it went to the bottom, and then he heard a big smack, and that was the brake disc that exploded.
It looks like the GT victory will be decided on pit stops.
We've got to take on less fuel at the next stop than they have. We're about a minute behind them, so it's going to put us right back within a couple of seconds again. And then it's going to come down to the last hour of fighting. It'll be like a sprint race, so who knows?
Now, while we've been concentrating on the top two cars in the overall standings, let's not forget the number 24 GPX Racing Porsche. It's been in third position in the GT division for most of the race.
It's fingers crossed. I mean, we are currently on P3. Our aim was the podium, which currently looks good for us, but fingers crossed, because even in the last half an hour a lot can happen.
Another car flying under the radar, doing very well, this time in the TCE division, is the local team Baporo with their 135 Cupra. They're in second with a 4-lap gap back to third.
For us, as a local team, we know very good the race of Barcelona, but especially when Creventic arrived with 24-hour series increased a lot the field, and with the GTs it's amazing because we have the maximum class GT3 cars and the maximum cars in TCR class, and it's fantastic.
In the final minutes of the race, the pit stop strategy has worked perfectly for the British team of Barwell Motorsport. They're on their way to an historic win here in Barcelona.
The Huracan GT3 is won in America, it's won Daytona. We've won at Spa in the silver class and in the AM class. I don't think that the Huracan has won in Europe overall, so yeah, that's one we're chasing, I guess.
24 hours completed, and the 77 Barwell Lamborghini crosses the line first in GT, just behind the top car number 131, wins the TCE division. After 24 hours, only 10 seconds between the first two in the GT division. Excitement right to the last lap.
Team did a flawless job. We had our issues, but we pulled it off in the end. It's been a very, very tough race, long, hot. Yeah, I'm happy it's over, and I'm happy we ended where we ended.
I gave my best, but in the end it was not enough for Mr. Lind, who was faster than me. And so, but we had a good day, we had a good race, and we had a good experience. So thank you to Barcelona.
At the top of the TCE division, not a 10-second gap, but 10 laps. Top car were sure of their win from a little earlier on.
Yeah, only thing what could happen was a technical failure, which is unlikely.
Baporo takes second in TCE.
Yeah, really happy. It's the hardest thing, very strong, but go to finish is well.
But that position was in danger at the end of the race.
Let's say me push. Number 2 got the problem. The tires are almost done, but I tried as hard as can, and otherwise it wasn't possible to catch number 2. But congrats to the whole team. They did an amazing job with 2 cars. It was hard.
Whilst we were racing here in Barcelona, a tragic accident in the Formula 2 race in Spa hit hard to the whole motorsport community.
We tried to get the win for Anton Hubert. We didn't. We pushed as hard as we could, but we'd like to dedicate this to him today. I know it's only third, mate, but you know, we tried.
The organisation decided to forego the champagne showers in respect of 22-year-old Antoine Hubert, who lost his life at Spa-Francorchamps on Saturday of our race weekend. The margin of victory, 10 seconds, and Barwell Motorsport takes home the big trophy with their Lamborghini number 77. Second is that Herbert team with their number 91 Porsche. The third podium position goes to GPX Racing, another Porsche, the number 24 car. In TCE, the Cupra 131 from Top Car Racing did have a comfortable lead for pretty much the whole of the race. Second, Baporo Cupra number 135, the local team, and third, the VW from the Autorama team, the 112. And the class winners, the Barwell 77 Lamborghini takes home the trophy in the A6 Pro class. Herbert 93 Porsche claims the victory in A6 AM. SPX class winners here in Barcelona for the new KTM GTX, the 216 team of True Racing 991 Cup class. Speed Lover number 978 fight through their difficulties and take the top step. In GT4, Orchid Racing are the winners with their number 415. In the TCE division, the number 131 Top Car Cupra wins the TCR class. KTM Crossbow number 224 of RTR Projects wins SP3. And in A3, it's Hoffa Racing by Bonk Motorsport that takes home the number 1 trophy. And let's not forget the winners of the eSport 24 Hours of Barcelona, Team MSI Esports.
It was a very interesting experience and very good. We lead all the race from the beginning. We got pole, and it was very good. Yeah.
The Barcelona event concludes the European Championship, so a second award ceremony in the hospitality unit after the race. The season champions in GT, Bohemia Energy Ferrari number 11. A 1-point lead at the end of the season gives them the championship over Herberth number 93 team second, 3 points ahead of their teammates from Herberth in the 91 team. In the TC division, it's the Autorama number 112 team. They've been successful for most of the year. A 14-point lead clinches them the European Championship from Synchro Honda number 676 in second, and the AC Motorsport number 188 Audi team finish the European Championship in third. In the Driver Championship, the results are a success for the number 11 Bohemia Energy team as Matteo Malicelli, Jiri Pasadic and Josef Kral take home the trophy for best drivers. Edward Lewis Browner from a Herberth number 93 takes second driver points, and the Herberth number 91 drivers of Daniel Alleman, Ralph Bourne and Robert Renard are third on the podium for GT Drivers division. In the TC division, the 2019 European Driver Champion is Fabian Danst. He raced today with Top Car, but earlier this season he was with Autorama. Dan Wheeler and Alan James from Synchro Honda second in the championship. James Kay and Stefan Perrin take third this season, even though Stefan currently in hospital due to an accident in night practice when he was knocked over in the pit lane. We wish him well. Here are the standings in the classes. So this was the last race of the European leg of the 24-hour series powered by Hankook, but not the end of our season, because this race, along with the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai and the Hankook 24 Hours of Portimao, is part of the continent standings. And in November, in Quarter at Austin, Texas, we'll know who'll win those trophies. And if you're a true endurance lover, don't forget the Spa 500 in October. That's a TCR only race. All the information that you need is on 24hseries.com.